today is multiple pregnancy. Multiple pregnancy occurs when more than one fetus develops simultaneously in the uterus. Twin pregnancy is the simultaneous development of two fetuses. It accounts for 17% of all preterm births, 24% of low birth weight, and 26% of very low birth weight babies. We also come across cases of 3 fetuses, that is triplets, 4 quadruplets, 5 quintuplets, 6 sextuplets, and so on. The incidence varies widely. It is highest in Nigeria, being 1 in 20, and lowest in the Far Eastern countries, being 1 in 200 pregnancies. The rate of monozygotic twins is constant throughout the world, which is 1 in 250. According to the Helin's rules, the mathematical frequency of multiple birth is twins 1 in 80 pregnancies, triplets 1 in 80 to the power of 2, quadruplets 1 in 80 to the power of 3. Twin pregnancy is the commonest variety of multiple pregnancy. It is of two types. First is dizygotic twins, around 80%, which results from fertilization of two ova, mostly from rupture of two distinct Graafian follicles by two sperms during a single ovarian cycle. It represents 2/3 of all the cases. There are two placenta which are either separated or fused. Each fetus is surrounded by a separate amnion and chorion. Sex of the fetus may be same or may differ. Genetic features are different and these twins are non-identical. 20% of the cases are monozygotic twins. It results from fertilization of one ova. It is not affected by heredity and also not related to induction of ovulation. The twinning may occur at different periods after fertilization. If the division takes place within 72 hours of fertilization, the resulting embryos will have two separate placenta, chorion and amnion, that is diamniotic dichorionic. If it occurs between 4 to 8 days after the formation of the inner cell mass, the resulting embryo will have two amniotic sac but one single placenta, that is diamniotic monochorionic. If it occurs after 8 days of fertilization, then it is monoamniotic monochorionic variety. If the division occurs after 2 weeks of development of the embryonic disc, it results in the formation of conjoined twins. There are mainly 4 types of fusion, commonest being thoracopagus, followed by pyopagus, craniopagus, and ischiopagus. What are the factors that influence twinning? The causes of twin pregnancy are not known. It is, however, highest among the Negroes, lowest among the Mongols, and intermediate among the Caucasians. Heredity: if there is a family history in the maternal side, the risk is more. The incidence increases around age of 37 years. It is higher from 5th gravida onwards. Then it is more common in taller and heavier women. It also increases with the use of pituitary gonadotrophins, any kind of infertility therapy, or assisted reproductive technology. How do we diagnose a case of twin pregnancy? So the patient may give a history of using ovulation inducing drugs, and there may be a family history in her maternal side of twin pregnancy. Symptoms: the minor ailments of normal pregnancy are often found exaggerated. Like there is increased nausea, vomiting in early months of pregnancy. Cardiorespiratory embarrassment is found quite often in the form of palpitation or shortness of breath. There is tendency of swelling of the legs, varicose veins, and hemorrhoids. Unusual rate of abdominal enlargement and excessive fetal movement. By doing a general examination, there is increased prevalence of anemia, unusual weight gain, and often there is association of preeclampsia. When we go for abdominal examination, we find that the elongated shape of the normal pregnant uterus is changed to a more barrel shaped. The abdomen is unduly enlarged. The fundal height and the abdominal guard is more than the period of gestation. fetal bulk seems disproportionately larger in relation to the size of the fetal head. We may be able to palpate too many fetal parts, two fetal heads, or we may even be able to pick up two distinct fetal heart sounds at separate spots with a silent area in between. Coming to the investigations. The sonography can help us a lot. It can help to identify separate gestational sacs quite early in pregnancy. Then later in pregnancy, we may be able to see two fetal heads or two abdomens in the same plane. Then chorionicity can be diagnosed at less than 10 weeks of pregnancy. In case of dichorionic twins, we see the lambda sign, that is a projecting zone of tissue of similar ecotexture to the placenta, which is triangular in cross section and wider at the chorionic surface of the placenta, extending into and tapering into a point within the intertwin membrane. The thickness of the intertwin membrane is more than 2 mm and it consists of two layers of amnion and two layers of chorion. In monochorionic twins, the lambda sign is not seen. Instead of this, we see the T sign and a thin intertwin membrane is seen. Then by doing a sonography, we can also go for pregnancy dating. Then we can monitor the fetal growth, the presentation lie, the Likert volume. Then we can diagnose vanishing twin in second trimester of pregnancy. We can rule out fetal anomalies and twin transfusion localization can be done. Coming to certain biochemical tests, the amount of HCG, plasma and urine is higher. There is also elevated level of maternal serum alpha fetoprotein and unconjugated estriol. What are the differential diagnoses of multiple pregnancy? It may be a case of over-distended bladder, wrong LMP dates, big baby, polyhydramnios, ascites, H-mole, presence of uterine fibroid, or any adnexal mass. What are the complications of twin pregnancy? First, the maternal complications during pregnancy. So there will be exaggerated early symptoms, increased risk of miscarriage, malpresentations are frequently found, mechanical distress, increased prevalence of anemia, then antepartum hemorrhage either due to placenta previa or abruptio placentae, preterm labor, risk of hypertensive disorders and hydramnios. During labor, there is risk of premature rupture of membrane, cord prolapse, prolonged labor, increased operative interference, intrapartum bleeding and postpartum hemorrhage. During puerperium, there is risk of subinvolution, risk of infection and lactation failure. Fetal complications. Prematurity rate is as high as 80%. There may be growth problem, intrauterine fetal death, asphyxia, stillbirth, and fetal congenital anomalies like neural tube defects, cardiac anomalies, bowel atresia, conjoined twins, and twin reverse arterial perfusion. There are certain complications specific to monochorionic twins like twin-twin transfusion syndrome, dead fetus syndrome, twin reverse arterial perfusion, and conjoined twins. Now, what is acardiac twin? Twin reverse arterial perfusion sequence is a rare but serious complication of monochorionic monozygotic multiple pregnancy. Here there is a normally formed donor twin who has got features of heart failure, and there is a recipient twin who lacks a heart, that is, that fetus is acardiac. Along with the heart, it may also be may not have certain other structures. There is a large artery to artery placental shunt, often accompanied by a vein to vein shunt. The perfusion pressure of the donor twin overpowers that in the recipient twin, who thus receives reverse blood flow from its twin sibling. Next we come to twin transfusion syndrome. Here blood is transfused from a donor twin to its recipient sibling. so that the donor becomes anemic and its growth is restricted, whereas the recipient becomes polycythemic, may develop hyperbilirubinemia and kernicterus, and also circulatory overload leading to heart failure. Occlusive thrombosis is also frequently found. The pathophysiology is presence of solitary deep arteriovenous channels within the capillary beds of the villus tissue. Often, velamentous insertion of the umbilical cord contributes to the development of unequal blood volumes between the two fetuses, restricting blood flow to one twin because of compression of such a cord. Diagnosis: there is weight discordancy between the twins of 15 to 20% and hemoglobin level difference of at least 5 grams per deciliter. This condition typically presents in the mid-trimester when the donor fetus becomes oliguric because of reduced renal perfusion, and thus it develops oligohydramnios. This is also referred to as stuck twin. The recipient fetus, on the other hand, develops polyhydramnios, presumably due to increased urine output. Hydramnios polyhydramnios combination can lead to growth restriction, contractures, and pulmonary hypoplasia in one twin, and premature rupture of membrane and heart failure in the other. Management options include amnioreduction, septostomy, laser ablation of vascular anastomosis, and selective feticide. Next complication we frequently come across is discordant twin. Here there is size inequality of the twin fetuses, which may be a sign of pathological growth restriction in one fetus. The perinatal mortality increases proportionate to the weight difference between the twin pair. This usually develops late in the second and third trimester and is often asymmetrical. But if it happens to occur earlier, then it is usually symmetrical, and then the sequelae is usually more serious and there is a higher risk of fetal demise. The pathology in monochorionic twins is usually due to placental vascular anastomosis, causing hemodynamic imbalance between the twins. And in dizygotic fetuses, it is usually due to different genetic growth potential. It is said to be present when the weight difference is more than or equal to 20%. Ultrasonic assessment of abdominal circumference is said to be superior to head circumference, femur length, or transverse cerebellar diameter. Management: ultrasonic monitoring of growth within a twin pair is very important to diagnose this condition. Other findings such as oligohydramnios may also be helpful so as to measure the fetal risk. Depending on the degree of discordancy and the gestational age, the fetal surveillance is indicated, especially if one or both the fetuses exhibit growth restriction. Delivery is usually not performed for size discordancy alone, except occasionally if the gestational age is advanced. Now, what if there is death of one fetus? The prognosis here for the surviving twin depends on the gestational age at the time of demise, the chorionicity, and the length of time between the demise and the delivery of the surviving twin. Early demise, such as a vanishing twin, does not appear to increase the risk of death in the surviving fetus after the first trimester. But if it happens to occur later in gestation, it could trigger coagulation defects in the mother, and in the co-twin, it could lead to neurological damage or death. Management decisions should be based on the cause of death and the risk to the surviving fetus. Majority of cases of a single fetal death in twin pregnancy involves monochorionic placentation. Monoamniosity. 1 in 20 monochorionic twins are monoamniotic. It is associated with high fetal death rate from cord entanglement, congenital anomalies, preterm birth, or twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. Prostaglandin synthase inhibitors used to reduce fetal urine output so as to create borderline oligohydramnios and to reduce the excessive fetal movements are usually used. Conjoined twin. This is an extremely rare condition which is often diagnosed only during delivery. There is a bridge of tissue between the two fetuses. Antenatal diagnosis is important because it helps to reduce the maternal morbidity, improve fetal survival, helps to plan the method of delivery, and allows time to organize the pediatric surgical team. Next, we come to the management of multiple pregnancy. Antenatal management. So we should focus on the diet of the pregnant lady because she requires more amount of calories, proteins, minerals, vitamins, and essential fatty acids. Bed rest is important. Coming to antepartum surveillance, all women with a twin pregnancy should be offered an ultrasound examination between 11 to 14 weeks of pregnancy. In women diagnosed with monochorionic twin pregnancy, first trimester screening for aneuploidy, if not, second trimester screening by quadruple test should be offered. All twins should also undergo a detailed routine ultrasound scan between 18 to 21 weeks of pregnancy. Sonography should be repeated 2 weekly in uncomplicated monochorionic pregnancies from 16 weeks and onwards. And in dichorionic pregnancy, it should be monitored 4 weekly from 26 to 38 weeks. Other tests of fetal well-being are done as necessary. Prevention of preterm delivery. Cervical length measurement by USG less than 25 mm at 24 weeks of pregnancy is the best predictor for preterm birth. But as till date, we do not have any effective measures to prevent preterm delivery. Use of corticosteroids to accelerate fetal lung maturity if preterm delivery is anticipated. The mode of delivery is decided by the presentation of the presenting twin, gestational age, chorionicity, and the fetal well-being at the time of delivery. Uncomplicated dichorionic twins are usually managed expectantly, and delivery is usually expected to occur around 38 weeks. In case of prematurity and discordant fetal growth, the timing of delivery is based on parameters of the healthy twin. Uncomplicated monochorionic twins are usually delivered at around 37 weeks, and in case of discordant fetal well-being or any anomaly, the timing of delivery is based on the condition of the compromised fetus. What are the indications for cesarean delivery? Specific for twins, the indications are when both or the first fetus is with non-cephalic presentation. Next is conjoined twins, monoamniotic twins, monochorionic twins with TTS, twin transfusion syndrome. And if there are other obstetric indications for cesarean delivery, then also we go for cesarean section. Vaginal delivery is attempted if both or at least the first baby is in vertex presentation. The first baby in breech and the second in vertex, if vaginal delivery is attempted, there is risk of interlocking twins. Now in vaginal delivery, how do we go about delivering the first baby? The babies are usually small, so they pose no difficulties. You should advise bed rest to prevent early rupture of membrane. Limit the use of analgesic drugs. General anesthesia is avoided because of its adverse effect on the second baby. Close monitoring is done. Internal examination is done soon after there is draining of liquor. An IV line is started and at least one unit of blood is cross-matched. Forceps delivery, if necessary, is done under pudendal block anesthesia. Methyl argometrin is avoided and the cord is left long so that any drugs or transfusion may be administered. A skilled obstetrician, presence of ultrasound machine, and an experienced anesthetist along with a neonatologist is required in delivery in case of multiple pregnancy. After the first baby has been delivered, we ascertain the lie presentation size of the second baby and its relationship to the birth canal. The membrane status is also assessed and cord prolapse ruled out. If the second baby is in vertex presentation and is low down, we may expect spontaneous delivery or we may apply forceps. But if it is high up, cephalopelvic disproportion should be ruled out, and also hydrocephalic head should be kept in mind and excluded by sonography. If these are excluded, we can go for internal version followed by breech extraction under general anesthesia. Ventrose is an effective alternative. If the second baby is in breech presentation, we may go for breech extraction, and if it is in transverse lie, it is corrected either by external version or internal version to cephalic or podalic presentation. ACOG has determined that the interval between delivery of twins is not critical in determining the outcome of the twin which is delivered second. However, there are certain indications of urgent delivery of the second baby. Those are severe vaginal bleeding, cord prolapse, use of IV methyl ergometrin after delivering the first baby, or use of general anesthesia, and appearance of fetal distress. Active management of the third stage is done, and the patient is to be watched carefully for about 2 hours after delivery. Management of difficult cases of twins. So here I shall discuss about interlocking. This is the commonest difficult situation we come across. Here the aftercoming head of the first baby gets locked with the forecoming head of the second baby. So here we should first try to manipulate vaginally so as to separate the chins of the fetuses. If it fails, we go for decapitation of the first baby. That is, we cut the head by cutting across the neck. The decapitated head is pushed up, and then the second baby is delivered, and lastly we conduct the delivery of the decapitated head. Occasionally, two heads of both vertex may get locked at the pelvic brim, preventing engagement of either of the head. In that case, we try to disengage the higher head under general anesthesia, and if it fails, we go for cesarean section. Some terms which you should remember in relation to multiple pregnancy. Superfecundation. It means fertilization of two different ova released in the same cycle by two separate acts of coitus. Superfetation is the fertilization of two different ova released in different menstrual cycles. This is theoretically possible until 12 weeks. Next, fetus papyraceous or compressious. Here one of the fetus dies early and gets compressed and flattened between the membranes of the living fetus and the uterine wall. Vanishing twin. One of the fetus dies before 14 weeks of pregnancy and it vanishes completely by resorption. Multifetal pregnancy reduction. This is a procedure to terminate one or more fetuses of a multiple pregnancy using potassium chloride while allowing some fetuses to remain alive. Thank you.